In Space, the Food Network episode. Yes, I am going to talk today about food and and what I think of it, which is not much. I couldn't care less. In fact, I hate the fact that I get hungry at all. It's annoying. I wish I didn't. So I drink a lot of energy drinks that do have lots of vitamins. In fact, if I drink 3 of these in a day, I get all of my daily vitamin, nutrition, calcium, and all that shit. So that's the justification for that. But the other justification is that I don't really care all that much about eating. It's annoying. It's annoying to. I don't like grocery shopping. I don't like cooking. Yeah, I tend to eat raw foods for the most part. If I do, or things I could put in the microwave. I eat once a day. Doing it like Buddhist monks who go around once a day and with their bowls begging for their food. And actually, in a way, I agree with that practice, because it means you don't have a choice what you eat. You basically relied on the goodwill of others to give you your food. So and you eat whatever's there, and I think that's I kind of believe in that. You eat whatever is there. I don't eat meat by choice. So I don't really I don't seek it out. However, if somebody feeds me food, dinner or lunch or something, they want to treat me to some sort of food, then, and it happens to contain meat, I will eat that. I think I personally think it's rude to somebody who's giving you food to share with you, to be, not wanting to accept that gift. That's kind of what I think. Yeah. That said, I prefer not to eat meat. But on the other hand, yeah, history goes way back. My history, my experience, and probably why I'm like this in regards to food. In fact, for a while I was just eating this stuff. It's called Soylent, but it's not Soylent Green. It's actually Soylent, and it's just like this weird powder thing. It's like a protein kind of a thing. It's like a full meal kind of thing, and you just mix it with water, and it tastes like absolutely nothing. It tastes like pancake batter, kind of. And if you drink that, then you don't need to eat at all. So for a while I was doing that, just because I was so busy. I was working on something, and I was so busy I just didn't have the time or interest in actually making food or trying to find it or whatever. And I think that's actually what happens a lot. Usually my entire behavior is driven by what I'm working on, and if I'm working, and then all else goes by the wayside, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much everything goes by the wayside. I can work straight for days on end and pretty much give up on all human kind of humanizing, shall we say, behaviors, such as taking showers and changing clothes, and eating, and sleeping. I mean, yeah. So energy drinks, I always have those, and I always have a lot of coffee. And it's just, that's how it is. It's kind of it's an obsessive thing. It's a hyper focused thing. It's just certain things don't seem to be great. Hey, all right. They don't seem important, really, and yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's sort of this whole. Some of it has to do with how I grew up. Parts of the time when I grew up, I actually for some periods of time I lived alone, literally alone, which wasn't bad. I mean, it was nice to be alone, but the first time I was 10, I think, and I lived alone for, at that time, I think 3 months, and you know, I mean, when you're 10 years old, it's not like you have the most greatest experience grocery shopping and cooking and all that shit. So I got these spaghetti things. They're called Miraculi. Here's spaghetti pack with some sort of package of tomato paste and a package of spices, and he could just like cook that. And that would make the sauce for the spaghetti, and so I would make that, and I literally made that every day, and just ate that. You know? Made a pot, ate it right out of the pot. So I think that kind of thing kind of it conditions you to, you know, you just. I don't know, it wasn't like a suffering thing, you know, it was fine. It's like, I don't care. I can eat the same thing every single fucking day. I couldn't care less. I really don't care at all. I'm good with that. So yeah, and I've eaten some pretty nasty stuff while traveling. I've traveled a lot in my younger years, and usually with no money, just enough to get started, and then pretty much I think I would run out of money probably about like 5 days into being gone, and then it would be like scrambling for whatever you could find to eat and wherever you could sleep, and it was just kind of like you just take your sleeping bag and you just sleep wherever. Just yeah. And yeah, I've dug shit up out of trash cans, and yeah, some pretty nasty stuff. But the thing is, if you're hungry enough, you'll eat anything. You know, you'll eat anything, and it's like, you don't even care. If you're really hungry, you don't care what the fuck you're eating. And I think that's how I feel about being vegetarian or being vegan or whatever. It's like, yeah, fine, you know, you can do that, you know, while you have the choice, but obviously, if you're starving, you're probably going to eat anything. So I don't know if it's useful to call yourself vegetarian, you know. I guess. I mean, maybe. So I don't call myself a vegetarian. I prefer not to eat meat. I will eat it if it's offered to me, and I'll definitely eat it if I'm hungry enough. Yeah. What else? Oh, meat eating. Yes, meat eating in general. I think the main problem with meat eating in our society is the fact that we don't honor the animals. It's not even the problem of the fact that you're eating meat. It's the fact that the animals are being factory farmed and factory slaughtered, and they're not being honored in their sacrifice. And that's something that's the problem. I think that's the problem. I think the problem is that most people don't even know that they're eating an animal. They're eating beef or they're eating pork, but they're not eating a cow or a pig. They're not, it's all cut up, or it's already like ground up, cut up, packaged in plastic packaging or nicely displayed somewhere, and there's a disconnect between the actual animal and the product, to where the sort of spiritual aspect, there's a spiritual aspect to the eating of meat that has been completely lost. And it used to be that people would it would be a sacred act to hunt an animal. It involved sacred practices. It involved shamans entering into the herd. If you go way back, or if you go to hunter-gatherer societies that are still somewhat alive, like where there's a record or some sort of oral history of how things are viewed. An example for this are the San people, formerly of South Africa, and the shamans would enter into the herd with the antelope, with the elands in South Africa, and if one was taken down, the shaman would lie down with the animal and breathe with it until the animal died. Basically, the shaman was breathing in and out with the animal and experiencing the same as the animal. It is a sacred thing. And that makes all the difference in the world. It's the same in ancient Greece. Animals were slaughtered as part of sacrificial offerings, whatever is being called animal sacrifice, as being like, oh, animal sacrifice, how horrible to sacrifice animals to the gods, how heathen or whatever. Animal sacrifice was sacred slaughter, and it was the only time that certain kinds of meat were eaten. That's the only time. They were only eaten, certain animals were eaten only as part of sacrificial ceremony. So it was directly connected with that same idea of this being sacred. And yeah. So I think that's what really it gets to me. It really gets to me. The factory farming gets to me. The mass slaughter really gets to me. The waste gets to me. The waste of life. All of that. And also I think, and I have a lot less problem with people hunting their food. Hunters going out and hunting their food and eating every single part of what they hunted. I think I'm more okay with that than with factory farming, and I think it gives you different perspective if you've ever killed an animal and eaten it. I think it gives you a different perspective. I've killed 2 animals and eaten them with a BB gun. uh, a bullfrog. I killed a bullfrog, big old black bullfrog, and a rabbit. And the bullfrog, oh God, it was one of the nastier things I've ever eaten in my life. And it gave me a terrible stomach ache. Absolutely awful. But I ate it, I killed it, and I fucking cooked it, and I ate it, and it was nasty. Yeah. A bad stomach ache. And the rabbit. Skin the rabbit. That's not that easy. That was a good learning lesson, a learning experience to skin an animal. It's like, it's really not that easy at all. To skin it and then to try and tan the hide. It didn't turn out perfect, shall we say, because I didn't know how to soften there's like all these different things you have to do, I guess, with lye and to get the hide to be pliable and soft. And all I did is I stripped it of everything and I put salt. And it worked kind of, but it turned really hard. So it was just like a stiff kind of a thing. So if I wanted to like hunt a bunch of rabbits and make myself a coat, that wouldn't have been a very good coat. But yeah, I ate that too. It's better than the frog, that's for sure. But it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do to kill an animal and to then eat it. It changes the way that you think about the whole thing, and it really changed it for me. It really did. I think that was significant as far as my attitude towards meat is concerned. But that was a long time ago. Crazy things. I've done many crazy things. Yeah. So what was I going to talk about? Was I going to talk about something else as far as food goes? No, I don't think so. I was just going to talk about the fact that number one, I don't care. Number two, I can function on very little food. I pretty much eat anything if I'm hungry. I'm not picky. Yeah. That was all over the place, wasn't it? Pretty much. I don't even know how long I talked. Anyway, maybe that's it. What else can I think about? I don't know. I can't think of anything else. That was so fast and so disorganized. Yeah. It's a funny thing, you know. It's a funny thing because there's all these different parts that a person can be, and you know, the things that you present to the outside, and you know, I'm the person behind the scenes. Like, shit. Anyway, I think I'm just gonna turn this off now and see what happened.